This is a 2020 Toyota Highlander, and this is the Platinum Trim Edition, and today we're going to review it.
We'd like to thank our friends at Heinz Toyota of Mankato for loaning us this beautiful 2020 Toyota Highlander for our review today.
Hey folks, I'm Rob.
And I'm Nathan.
And we are Two Guys in a Ride. And say, Nate, tell the folks what we're taking a look at today.
Today we're taking a look at the newly redesigned 2020 Toyota Highlander, and it is the Platinum trim level.
That's right, but before we do, if you want to keep up to date with all the new cars, trucks, and SUVs out there, and you want to know how to operate all the technology that's built into these new vehicles, plus you love cool collector car stories,
take a moment and hit that subscribe button down below, and then ring that bell notification up above so you never miss a video.
That's right. So what do you say, Nate?
Oh, let's go for a ride.
All right, welcome to our detailed review on the interior. We're going to start with the driver's information center. So I'll be using these 4 cursor buttons, the OK button and the back button. Now to start with, if you notice, this is how it's set up. You've got all these icons on the left. Using the up and down arrows, I can go through each one of these. So I'm going to press the back button here to start. If I go up, I've got the triangle at the bottom, I've got the gear wheel, I've got the car, the music note, and then I've got the car again with the guidelines on it, and then the leaf. So you can, each one of these is like a main menu, okay? So depending on which one of these you click on, you may or may not get a couple of dots at the top of the screen. If you get a couple of dots at the top of the screen, it means you can scroll left and right for more screens. All right, so here I am, and I'm on the leaf. And if I scroll to the right, or left, excuse me, I get my eco, and that gives me distance to empty. It'll also tell me how economically I'm driving if I'm moving. Then if I go one screen over, I get my fuel economy screen, which shows me my total economy for my trip, my instant economy as well. Okay, and then if I scroll again, it goes back to the digital speedometer. Now, if I go down to this next screen here, driving support. So in this screen, there isn't anything to click on, but basically, things will show up in this screen that relate to the cars, the safety systems on the car, if it's using one of them, and it'll be displayed up on your screen. Okay, so being there's nothing more I can do, I'll go down to the media one, and you notice at the bottom it says push OK for source. So right now it's just showing me what I'm on, but if I push OK, then I come to all my sources, so you can switch between all of your different sources on here. All right, and then if I press the back button, I'm back. And then all you have to do to select one of those is press the OK button a second time. All right, so let's press down and we'll see what's next here. All right, safety system status. And again, I've got the 3 little white dots up here. So this screen shows you some of the basic systems that are operating on your car and that they're on. Okay, if I do a left arrow, I get sort of a graphic picture of my all-wheel drive system and seeing which tires getting traction. These little areas will light up as each wheel gets traction, so you know which wheels are turning. And then I had one more dot on the left, so I'm gonna click one more time, and here I get tire pressure, and it shows you each individual tire. I like how they ghost it out so you can actually see the tires on the other side of the car. All right, nothing more in here, so I'm gonna use the down arrow and go to the gear wheel. Now, this one has, you see the dots above? So I have 2 sets of screens. So if I click my right arrow, keep going, there's my second screen, okay? But to get into each one of these things, this is like a sub menu, I will need to push the OK button. It says hold OK for detailed settings. So here we go. First one, I press OK. And now I can turn on or off a bunch of my lane keeping safety system stuff. And if on lane center, it says on, but if I press OK, it switches it to off. Press OK again, it goes back to on. Same thing for steering assist. Now, when it comes to sensitivity, if I press OK, then it actually gives me two different levels: lower, less sensitive, and more sensitive. Okay, and then I can go down here and I can turn the sway warning on or off. You'll also notice that there's a little white bar right here, and I have some gray area. That means there's more things down below. So I use the down arrow, and I've got sway sensitivity. And again, I adjust that by pressing the OK button. All right, now I want to go back to where I was, so I'm just going to use the back button. Okay, and now I'm going to move over to the next icon using my right arrow. And this one here, we got, if I push and hold, this is your pre-collision system. And again, I can press the OK button for the sensitivity level setting. Okay, I'm going to use the back button here. Move over to the next icon. All right, here I got my blind spot monitor, and that is simply an on or off. I obviously want that on, so I'm going to continue. Parking sensors, on or off. Okay, I'm gonna leave those on. Now, it flipped over automatically to my second screen because I was at the end of the window for the first one. So I'll go over here. This is the HUD. This does have a 10-inch screen HUD display, which is really nice. Now, simply clicking OK turns it on or off. Press and hold, and now I can adjust the HUD brightness. So I'll use my left or right arrows. I can adjust the HUD brightness, and then it shows the up and down arrows for position. So I know you can't see it right now, but when I press the up or down arrows, when I look at the actual HUD display, it's going up and down. So then you can adjust it to your height, depending on how tall you are. You know, everyone sits differently in a seat, so that allows you to adjust it. Use the back button. Let's go to Hud Driving Support and press OK. So under tachometer settings, I can either have an economy indicator or a tachometer show up in the HUD display. Okay? Or you can actually tell it to have something, to have nothing there. I kind of like the eco indicator there, so I'll leave that. Press the back button. And then these are on or off. These are the things that I can have show up in the HUD display or not show up. So if I just simply click OK, it goes off. Press OK again, it comes on. So here you got navigation, driving assist features, and compass. Okay, and one more scroll down, and you have audio on or off. So all those things can show up in your HUD display, or you can turn them off. Or press OK, or press the back button. And then we have a HUD rotation. Now, if you haven't used a HUD before, this is a really nice feature because, again, depending on the way you sit in the car, the HUD screen appears either straight or crooked. And if I use my left or right arrows, what happens is it actually takes and tilts the HUD display left and right so that it looks centered and square to your eyes. Okay, I'll press the back button again. We'll press it one more time. And now we'll go over to the next icon here. Okay, if I press, just simply press once, it goes off. Press once, it comes on. And if I press and hold, it goes to detailed settings. And then I can select the notification method. If I want to be notified above the speed limit, okay, I can have that, or I can go others, and I can say I want no notification. I can have only visual or visual and audio. So you get a beep warning. Okay, so this next one will warn you if you're going over the speed limit because it has a traffic recognition sign system on it. And if I just press OK quickly, it turns off. If I press OK again, it turns off. But if I want to go into the system and change some settings, I press and hold that OK button. So under notification method here, you can select how you want to be notified. I want to be notified when I'm above the speed limit. I would click here. And now you can say, well, no notification, only visual or visual and audio. So it'll beep at you. It'll give you a visual indication that you're speeding. Okay, if I click on others, again, I can have just a visual or visual and audio warning. Not quite sure what the difference is between the two of those. But my guess is one will constantly be on and the other one will be on only if you're above the speed limit. All right, so let's click back a couple of times here. Let's go to the next icon here. We'll press and hold. Okay, this is your power tailgate. So if I click on that one, I can turn it on or off. I can turn the kick sensor on or off. I can adjust the opening, how many inches I want it up there. And it gives you a cool little graphic to show you what that is. Okay, and let's go back. Volume, you can change that just by clicking the OK button. All right, and that's all that's on there. So let's go to the back button, and we'll go down here to your auto start stop. Okay, if I click on that, I can have standard or extended. Okay, extended will prolong that start stop feature, so the engine will stay off longer, and it reduces AC output. So obviously it's going to be more fuel efficient. Okay, now I'm going to press the back button here. Go to the tire pressure warning system. I can actually set the pressure that I want to be warned at in the car, and I can change the wheel. So go back. Rear seat reminder. This just reminds you to check your back seat when you get off and shut out the car, so you don't leave anybody or anything back there. Okay, and a simple click on or off. Now again, you notice you got that scroll bar down here, so there's more things down below. So I'm gonna press the down arrow, and then you can go into scheduled maintenance. I'm not gonna reset the data here, but if there was scheduled maintenance, oil change, that kind of stuff, it would show up here. I'm gonna press the back button a couple times. Okay, I'm gonna go over here. All right, I'm gonna click and hold on this icon, and here's where you can change like the language, the units, so metric or SAE, and then you can turn your economy symbol on or off. That shows up in the dashboard down here. Digital speed on or off, and then again, because I have more area down here, I can do the down arrow, and I can select a gadget. I can have no display, average speed, distance, or total time show up. So I'll just leave as average speed there. Fuel economy type. If I go down there, I have the trip, the total, or the tank. That's kind of a neat feature to be able to distinguish between those. Pop-up display. These are things that pop up in the middle of your driver's information screen only if you need to know about them, like incoming phone calls, that kind of stuff. So I can set what's allowed to pop up on my screen. Okay, and turn-by-turn navigation, and a simple click on the OK button will turn everything on or off. Telephone, audio, volume, voice control, the duration of auto start stop, the status of auto start stop, brightness. Okay, and then we're back to the first thing. So press the back button. If you want this whole screen to go off, you can press and the whole screen, that center screen, will turn off. Okay, I don't want that, so I'm going to hit the down button because I have a little bit more area to go. And then you've got default settings. If I click on that, it says, are you sure you want to restore to factory settings? I don't, so I'm just going to hit the back button, hit it one more time. And you notice I still have an arrow pointing off to my right, so I'm going to click one more time, up, and that just brought me back to the beginning. All right. So that's all under this little gear wheel. So now I'm going to use the down arrow. And down here we have, these are like warnings that show up. I'll go back here a minute. So right now it's just showing me seatbelt status because the car is running and I'm in the driver's seat, but I'm not buckled. My seat shows up as red. So that is a nice feature to have. So you're kind of warned if there's somebody in a seat and they're not buckled, it'll light up in red. Now, if there's nobody in the seat, it's just going to show it as just normal. Right? And then we'll just press the down or up arrow, doesn't matter. And then you're back to the first screen that we were on. Now, in addition to that, of course, you've got a couple safety systems that show up right here. You've got your adaptive cruise control that lights up when it's on. Got your fog lamp indicator. It'll tell you if your cruise control is on this radar already. You got a clock. You got outside temperature, snow warning, and then your gear selector, and then of course trip A. Now, the odometer trip button I showed you earlier on the outside review, but it's just to the left of the dashboard. And if I press that, I can go to trip B, or the total odometer. Okay, so you got 3 pushes on that. All right, that being said, we are going to move over next to the infotainment screen. On the Platinum trim level on the Toyota Highlander, 2020 Toyota Highlander, this is a 12.3-inch screen. Normal size in any other trim level will be 8-inch, which is still almost 2 inches larger than last year's screen. So the way that this is set up, right now I've got 4 screens. I've got climate currently showing, but I can have seat heat, media, I can have trip information, trip history, and I can just have general information here about my car. Over here I've got whatever's playing on the media. Okay, so right now I have XM satellite. Over here I've got Apple CarPlay hooked up, and over here I've got navigation. Now there are 3 arrows on the screen. There's one here. This one means that it will expand this window across the whole screen like this. Okay, so now that whole screen goes there. Okay, it will, if I go over to this one, it's going to switch this information to this side of the screen and shove this over to this side. Okay, so I'm gonna hit here. So now it just switched sides. So now you can rearrange your screen with an easy click of a button. Okay, you've got that way to configure your screen. Okay, and those different buttons. There's a third one I talked about, and that is this button down here with the double arrows here. Okay, if I do that, it's just another way to do the same thing that this button did. So I can just flip back and forth depending on which side I want that screen. Okay. That being said, you have 4 physical buttons. These are like shortcuts. This is the home screen right here, and I'll show you how to customize that later. I've got a menu button that gives me right to my apps. Okay, and then I've got an audio button that brings this up, and I can now have whatever's showing here, and I can go to things like sound and options, and we'll go through all that in a little bit. But play, stop, fast forward, all that kind of stuff. All right, then I can press map button, and it brings up my navigation in that window. All right, so let's go back to the home screen for a minute. And home screen, and let's start with this screen right here. So again, you can flip-flop sides with these little this arrow here or that arrow there. But here's what I have. Okay, we'll start at the top. I do have push touch. I do have the screen controls for my climate. This is the front currently. Okay, my sync button is not a physical button. It is a on-screen button. I can sync all 3 zones together if I want. I got fan speed, mode, all that kind of stuff. If I want the rear, all I got to do is click on it, and it brings up the rear. Okay, I can make anything. I can turn it off. I can make it auto. Then I can also click, if I just take and click up here, I think after a while it'll just default and go back to the front. Most systems do, or I can click on front. And then you have AC auto here, eco heat and cool, and then auto recirculation. The next button down gives me my heated and ventilated seats. Okay, and then down here I've got my media, and if I click on option, I can switch through things, which is kind of an interesting take on it. So I'm using these buttons to switch the screen over here. Okay, I'm gonna go backwards, and if I go to the next button, this gives me my trip info. Okay, so here's my miles per gallon, here's my range, and then if I go to history, then I can see a little bit more miles per gallon history. If I go down one more, I get information. So I can take a look at my traction, my all-wheel drive system here, and also sort of a G-force indicator right there. And again, because it has that arrow, I can make it full screen if I want. Okay, I can clear that off, and now you have a reset system. And your climate control still shows up here, right? And anytime you touch on that, pops it right up for you. Okay, So that's the five little icons right here. All right, so on the next window up here, I've got a bunch of things I can touch. Now, right now it's just in a small window so I can see more things, but I can right here, I can go back a station, I can go forward station, I can stop a station. If I click on the music emblem, then I get a much bigger screen with much more controls. Okay, and you can go through here. Always, you're going to have a source button here, so you can flip through your different sources. You can reorder these if you'd like, your presets, that kind of stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to the home button. All right, so that's how you control that little screen and how you make it bigger to get it more features. Apple CarPlay is right down here. So if I click on Apple CarPlay, it actually brings up my Apple CarPlay. Now, I've got a few shortcuts right here, but you know, this is where your main icons are going to be in all of them. So I've got 4 buttons down here, so I can swipe. You can see that I'm getting all sorts of navigation up here. My Sirius XM satellite does show up, which is a neat feature. So if you don't have Sirius XM on your car, but you do have Apple CarPlay, that can show up. Okay, now I swipe back 1 button further, it still shows me my Apple CarPlay, but also shows me a navigation map. Okay. Press that button, I go right back to all of my icons. Okay. I'm going to press the home button again. So that's how you get at Apple CarPlay. Now over here I've got my navigation. I can zoom in, zoom out, okay, and if I press my direction, I can change how the different looks on the map. 3D and then normal, kind of zoomed back, the other one zoomed in, and then 3D. So you have 4 screens, and then you can expand them and look at the different features that are in each one of them in more detail. All right, so what you see right now again is 4 windows, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can customize what you see over here. This part is going to stay no matter what. And you can flip-flop the sides that it goes to, okay, but you can't change it. This you can change. So if you change that, you go to Menu, Setup, Customize Home Screen. And right now this is what we're on. It's showing navigation and then audio and phone. If I click Change Layout, I can flip-flop the screen so navigation shows up on the left or in the middle in this case, or I can say I want 4 windows. Okay, that wouldn't be very good probably for navigation here, but I'm going to leave it like this and just go back to the home screen, and you're going to see now I've got 4 windows over here. So I've got my media, I've got weather, I've got driver easy speak, and Apple CarPlay. Since this is the only place you can really turn on driver's easy speak, it's just nice to have that right there, so you can turn that on or off. So customizable. All right, if I go into Menu again and I go to Setup, first of all, there's a list of things you can change here. So you got clock, language, projection settings, the beep on or off, theme settings, units of measurement, keyboard layout, all that kind of stuff. But also over here, you've got a list. So you can, right now we're on General. Bluetooth is grayed out because there's nothing hooked in Bluetooth, but if it was, that would light up. You have audio things that you can set. Common, okay, you have display cover art on or off, priority display of Grace Note on or off, and then you can look at the Grace Note database version if you need to. Okay, phone, I don't have anything on because my phone isn't connected as a phone. It's just being used as Apple CarPlay right now. And then you've got voice settings for your voice command. And then again, you can scroll through here to get all these different props. You can even train your voice. Okay, so using this down arrow down here, I also get to Vehicle, Navigation, Wi-Fi, and Entune at Suite. If I click on Vehicle, I can look at the valet mode, customization, or maintenance. Let's take a look at maintenance for a minute. Here I can preset all sorts of things here. Engine oil filter, rotation, tires, battery, transmission. I mean, the last time I saw one that detailed was on I want to say it was on the Tundra. They had one just like this. If I click on engine oil, I can set, the date and the distance. So it takes a little bit to set up, but you could have a really nice maintenance display up here reminding you of things, because you can turn that reminder on or off. Okay, let's go into vehicle customization. So here you've got door lock settings, you have climate settings, and light settings. So I want to just take a look at the light settings for a minute. Here's where you can set your headlights auto on, headlights auto off timer, daytime running lights on or off, interior light timer, and exterior lights on or off. Okay? And then let's take a look at the convenience services, on or off. And those, well, yeah, and then you can say whether you want them on while stopped, or off. Okay? Climate settings, AC, auto AC mode can be turned on or off there. So there's more settings right in there. Okay? I'm gonna use the back button again. And if I go down one more, I got navigation settings. So I can program in my home address, my favorites, areas to avoid, or detailed navigation settings. So here you can say, I want a low fuel warning pop-up to come on. I want unverified road guidance warning. Guidance on unverified roads. Guidance with street names. Favorite POI carriers, categories. Calibration. Adaptive route. This has a system on it that will actually pick the most fuel efficient route for you. You do have to have a route plotted into the navigation before that's accessible, but that's really neat. So you just have all these features, too many to go into, but if you want to change some of the settings on your actual navigation, that is where you can do it. Okay, and then of course you can work with your Wi-Fi here, how to connect, password, and so on. And then at the end, if I had the Entune app suite on my phone, I could take a look at that. You've also got traffic here. And here's where you can turn on information about your traffic icon when you want to. I'll show you that in a minute. You can turn those on or off to use with that. And then you can look at your data services. To look at the traffic display, I told you about that. I'll show you that. If you click on menu and then you click on info, you can get traffic incidents right here. Okay, traffic is on current road, events nearby, traffic, predictive traffic map, or my traffic routes. Okay, so lots of different things you can do. You can go into weather here. Okay, national, local weather map. There's so many different things that you can do here, and here it is. I mean, it's like having the weather app on your phone, which is just really, really cool. Okay, so other than that, you can plot a course by going into destination here. Right here you get a list. You can, if I hit the menu button again, you can look directly at your phone if there's one connected. And then you can take a look at the apps that would come with Entune, the Entune app suite, which again is not available right now. Okay, so lots of ways to customize this screen, lots of information on there. Absolutely love it. Moving down here, you do have a few physical buttons. You got a power volume on and off. You got a tune and scroll button here. You can see that change right there. And you have physical controls here for your climate control. You have 3-stage heated seats, 3-stage ventilated seats on both sides. You got your temperature controls, you got your auto temp, your fan speed, front defrosters, rear defroster along with your mirror defrosters, and then you can turn it off. The only button you don't have on here is a physical sync button for the climate controls, but you can get that right there. The last thing I need to show you is the digital rear view mirror. So, on the rear view mirror, to activate it, what you're going to do is pull this day-night switch. Okay, and then you've got some menus. So these 3 buttons are your menu. This selects the menu item. This changes it. So if I press here, I have, let's go, oops, I got to press the menu button. I forget. All right, so I've got brightness. I can adjust that. Next one over is I can select how far up or down the camera's looking. Okay, next one over is left right. So I can make the mirror go slightly to the left, slightly to the right. And then if I hit the next one here, this curves the mirror. So it tilts it sideways, just like a real mirror will do. And then if I press it again, I have a magnifier. so I can magnify something. And then if I go one more, auto brightness on or off. It's just incredible what they'll all put inside of a mirror. But those are really nice, especially if you pack a bunch of stuff in the back. This allows you to see out of that second camera coming out of the tailgate. All right, so I hope this has been helpful. Thanks for joining us.